Mackenzie Johnston with Tri-State Livestock News, bringing you discussions concerning fair cattle markets. Today we have the opportunity to chat with Bryan Gill of Gill Red Angus, located in Timber Lake, South Dakota. Can you tell me a little bit about your background in the cattle industry?
Well, I'm 45 years old. I grew up around the ranch here in western South Dakota near Timber Lake. My dad started Gill Red Angus in 1979. He bought his first registered Red Angus cows there. I was born in 75, so I've been around the Red Angus industry my entire life. For a while, I helped manage other people's sales when I was younger. I was a sale manager, they called it. So I helped put on other bull sales and state-sponsored sales and dispersions and things like that as well. And then in the last 10 years or so, I've been running around the country for Gill Red Angus, bidding on our customers' calves. So I get to go to the market, the sale barn, quite often throughout the fall and winter and help our customers receive the bidding price they deserve. So by raising cattle and going to the sale barns and going to the feedlots, I kind of get a all-around perspective of what's happening in the industry.
So what do you feel are the major issues standing in the way of fair cattle markets?
Well, I don't think we can resolve the issues until the cattle industry kind of comes together. Right now, it seems like we have different groups pushing for different ideas, different things, and with one major organization working against the other organizations, it seems like it's kind of a bickering match. Our congressman needs to decide if we're feeding the country is more important or lining their pockets. It seems like right now that the Packers have so much power and so much lobbying power that nothing is getting resolved. It seems like it's all a lip service.
What solutions do you think could be implemented to solve this issue?
Well, I'm not sure which solutions. There's several ideas floating around. But right now, I think there's too much money passes hands to the lobbyists. There's groups out there that say they represent the rancher, but it surely doesn't feel like it when nothing seems to change and it's the same old, same old. If we could get some bills passed to restrict the Packers from having complete control, then we might get somewhere.
Do you think that our cattle organizations, whether it be RCAF, U.S. Cattlemen's, NCBA, some of these large state affiliates, do you think we will ever be able to get on the same page and fight for similar goals?
Well, I think some things we already are. Some things we are fighting the same goals, like against PETA, for example, where none of us are in bed with PETA. So we are agreeing on some things. But when it comes to some of the bigger issues, like the Packers and the AMCOOL, I don't think we'll ever agree completely because there's such a division between the two groups. And I was at one meeting and we asked the question. I'm not going to say which organization it was. We asked the question if we could ever join forces with another organization, with this other organization, so we could have more say and more power with the population. And they said, absolutely not. They don't agree with us, and we don't agree with them, so we're not interested in working together. That, to me, tells us way too much division. We're all trying to feed the world, and we're all trying to make a dollar. If we could just agree on something, we could get more done.
There have been multiple proposals brought forward to increase competition in our fed cattle markets, whether it be Senator Grassley's 5014 legislation or Senator Fisher's Cattle Market Transparency Act that she brought forward. What solution do you feel would be best to create robust price discovery?
I like the 5014 bill myself. I think if half fat cattle in the country was sold via auction or some other price discovery, then the fat cattle prices would follow the box beef prices. And I think if we followed the box beef prices, it would be a more realistic price for the fat cattle, right, which would trickle down to the rancher. And right now, we saw what happened with the box beef in the spring, how high it got. And without price discovery, they gave us whatever we wanted for fat cattle. I sold 1,500-pound fats for $1.01, and they were selling box beef cattle at record prices. Mm-hmm. That's not right. But so we need something done. I think we need to follow the box beef price. That's what they're getting for the meat. Mm-hmm. So why can't follow that as well.
Did you sell any cattle during the summer when feeders were having issues getting cattle moved because of the backlog? And did you have any issues through that backlog?
I did not personally sell any at that time. Thankfully, mine were pushed out till October. We just fed them slower. We saw what was happening, so we fed them slower, and we hit the October market instead. And there wasn't so much a backlog at that time, but the prices were not good. We never saw a bounce in the prices yet.
The USDA has proposed implementing RFID tags for traceability across the industry by 2023. What are your thoughts on this?
It sounds good in theory, but we all know who's going to pay for it and where the problems will fall. The people sitting behind the desk in D.C. or wherever they're at making these decisions never have to fork over the money to actually get it done. The rancher is already struggling financially, and this will be one more expense to the rancher. So, right now we're using the bangs clips or however they use to cross state lines, and if this is going to be more expensive, obviously, so it'll trickle back down to the rancher because we know the vet ain't going to pay for it.
Do you feel that the chaos in the cattle industry over the past 8 months will have an impact on the seed stock sector heading into this year's bull sale season?
Absolutely. There's so much uncertainty out there. And we just had our fall bull sale just last week. And because of COVID, there's a reservation near me called the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And they've got tribal checkpoints on the highway. They're not letting people through who don't live on the reservation unless they are essential businesses. And with my bull sale, I had customers that called me and were turned around. They wouldn't let them through. People are really cautious, not knowing what the future will be. They're upset they couldn't get across the reservation. And this is just one reservation, and this is a small thing. It won't affect a lot of people, but it affected me. And as far as the COVID for the rest of the industry, these other states are talking about closing down. New York is talking about locking up again. And New York eats a lot of beef. Mm-hmm. So what's it going to do to the beef prices? I don't know. But emotions run huge in the cattle industry. And if people are nervous about markets, they won't pay as much for their seed stock, I'm sure.
More than ever, consumers want to know where their food comes from. Do you think AMCOOL has a place in our industry?
Absolutely. AMCOOL is needed. But instead of labeling our beef, I think at the very least we should be labeling all the imported beef and say imported from Mexico or wherever it comes from. We have all kinds of things that sign affidavits. We have to sign affidavits when we sell old kill cows or kill bulls that say they've been treated. Lots of things like that. We should follow BQA guidelines. But the imported cattle don't have the same rules, but they get paid the same live prices or box beef that we do. So I think AMCOOL is something that's very important. It should be there, but at the very least, it should be labeled saying that these cattle are from another country.
What are your thoughts on the petition circulating to bring about a beef checkoff referendum?
People who sell the cattle pay for the beef checkoff. If they want it or corrected, then they should be allowed to do so. As I understand it, everyone pays $1 for the checkoff per head sold. But except the packers. They have this tax, if I understand it right. But yet they have the most gain. They should be paying it well. And we could double our budget with just this one move.
As we continue to see packers report record profits, we also see more and more small to mid-sized cattle producers drop out of the game. If this equation continues, what do you see happening to the cattle industry?
Well, the larger ranchers, I think, will get larger, while the others will probably go away. It's pretty tough financially and a lot of work physically. If things aren't corrected, the industry will lose a lot of outstanding people.
Do you think the cattle industry is in danger of becoming vertically integrated?
It worries me. All the other parts of the egg industry seem to have been vertically integrated. The chicken, the egg, the hog, dairy, they're all pretty much owned by the larger conglomerates, and it scares me that it's going to happen. It feels like we're working towards that right now in the beef industry as well.
How do you think President-elect Joe Biden's administration will affect the cattle industry?
Well, they want more regulations and more taxes, and they want to push more, and it seems like they want to push more of the fake meats. So it really concerns me. They want to, and Kamala Harris has stated that she wants to change the food pyramid, so beef isn't high up on the list. All right, if they get what they want, it's going to hurt the beef industry, and it'll hurt all of agriculture, because if one fails, I think it hurts us all.
Do you have any closing statements you'd like to make?
I seem to be doom and gloom in my answers, but if we can get a few things corrected, we can again see some great prices. If we get fair prices, I think we can keep young families in ag. And the more people in ag, the more people understand it. We all have friends and families who live in cities. If we could somehow educate these people about our industry and how we work to keep cattle alive and healthy, and what we do to keep the environment safe, and why the fake meats are so bad for the industry, our health, and the economy, we will be able to keep this wonderful industry alive.